Hey everyone, I'm Scott. Welcome to another Cooking Connection virtual cooking class. I'm excited you decided to tune in tonight. We got a lot of great stuff going on. To say I'm excited, I feel seems redundant because I always say I feel like I'm very excited for tonight's class, but I'm very excited for tonight's class. We are really talking about, obviously, grilling season. Memorial Day is coming up, which, first of all, big shout out to all of our military service men and women. We thank you so much for all that you sacrifice for us. We want to make sure we give a big shout out to all our military personnel. Thank you so much for all you do. As we transition into our summer, you know, you've kind of got the school's kind of now, kids are getting out of school. There's all, what are we doing? Hopefully you're starting to oil up the grill, give it its tune-up, change all the parts that are replaced after the whole snowstorm of our winter season here in Texas. But we're trying to get ready for that grilling season, and all too often, I think we get so focused on certain things about, you know, we do this and we grill this and we do this. Well, this class, we hope to show you, number one, introduce you to my moderator and friend, who's an awesome asset to us today. But also, we want to really show you, this class is all about some great sauces to go along with your center of the plate grill items. So we've got some great meats. We've got a ton of meat. This is like meat coma time right now. Like everything I'm going to show you, we've got some great stuff. But without me going into the recipes first, I want to introduce our guest moderator. His name is Justin Han. He's awesome. And Justin, will you just tell the folks at home a little bit about who you are? You're going to see this voice of Justin Han. It's very cool hand Luke is what I call him. So go ahead, Justin, give us a little rundown.
Excellent. Howdy, partners and also HEB customers. Yeah, no, Justin Han, actually worked with HEB for the last 4 years. Prior to that, I worked for Cargill in the beef industry and also in further processing industry. Was own brand product development manager, and now a buyer for HEB.
You've come full circle. He knows so many aspects of what we do at HEB, and what I'm really excited about is I'm going to use his wealth of information, not just to keep me on track, but also any questions you may have. He is our expert tonight, and he's got a lot of great information, details. We're going to do a lot of kind of, hopefully, myth busting for you to kind of show you like, hey, I always thought this. Like, well, hopefully, with Justin here, we're going to kind of take some of those things and turn them into, oh, wow, great little lights on moments for you guys. So before we start, I do want to have him talk a little bit about some of the self-man stuff that we do. So I think we talk about self-man. Most people go, what is self-man? What does that mean? A lot of things when you walk into our HEB meat market, this is to call the hero of HEB meat market, which I 100% think that our meat market partners are amazing, and our meat markets do a phenomenal job in everything they do. But when you're walking past the meat market, you may see things like, you know, these fajitas, like these ready-to-go fajitas, a meat tienda. You may see importantly, you usually see like end caps during the summertime of the jalapeno poppers. Justin, those are all made by hand, correct? Am I wrong?
You're 100% right, yeah. So we have self-manufacture. Our meat plant has roughly 700 employees. You brought up poppers. It's an amazing process. We've come so far. So
yeah. Now
we produce over 5 million pounds a year. Each partner touches it by hand. They wrap it. I mean, it's just amazing.
It's insane. Like it boggles my mind that, you know, over 350 stores, and you have this artisan process happening, and it goes out to every single store. But literally, it's, if I could paint a picture, imagine 700 people wrapping each jalapeno lovingly with bacon after they've stuffed it. And now we have a new flavor that just launched yesterday, the boudin.
Oh yeah, I was going to surprise everyone, but you went ahead and took that.
Sorry.
No,
I stole that thunder. I'll do that, Justin, from time to time.
Yeah. So we currently have cream cheese. We have a sausage and a brisket that's being reformulated that comes back out again this summer. Boudin popper actually launched as of today.
Awesome. So yeah, as you're walking around, maybe you're watching this as you're walking around shopping at HEB, go by the meat market. There's so many great things that you can check out. And again, it's an amazing process. Artisan, folks. Really good stuff. All right, let's get into it. You should have 3 recipes. I have 4 because we went a little extra, and we'll post that recipe for you in the chat so you can follow along. We're not kidding. We say meat is what it's all about tonight. We're going to make it the center of the plate. But we have some fantastic sauces, and if you are kind of stuck in the rut of, you know, hey, I always grill this cut and I always do this sauce or whatever, like we want to really show you tonight to open your horizons a little bit. We're gonna cross some borders and do some fun stuff. The first couple of recipes of the sauces we're gonna do are more, I would say, like kind of cold sauces or room temperature sauces you would serve over your steak. I've got the chermoula or chermoula. Chermoula is a North African style sauce. It originated really in Morocco. If you love food anthropology and want to Wikipedia stuff, you can look up these sauces and you can probably go back to the the origins of where it all came up with and who came up with it, but it's really it's a Moroccan sauce. It's fantastic. And what's great about it is, I think we get in our heads about like, I don't know if this doesn't, it sounds too weird. I want to do it. I just go with my normal thing. Your palate speaks way more languages than you do, I guarantee. And there's so many things that we can find and pull out of these great, different countries, different regions that have a lot of similarities to what we do. So what I love about the chermoula is, there is spices you're familiar with. Coriander, cumin, there's herbs you're very familiar with, parsley, cilantro. Obviously we use those a lot in South Texas and in Texas in general. Garlic, lemon juice, like there's nothing that's super, super crazy. The thing I also love about chermoula is we add a little heat to it in the red pepper flake. We're also going to add some of our smoked paprika just to give it a really nice smokiness. And Justin, if you've never had chermoula, it's like a salsa that's turned into like a dressing that's like boogieing all over town.
That
I don't know if
amazing.
boogie's a word, and maybe just be getting down or dancing like crazy, but it's amazing and it's good on everything. The next one we're going to do is the chimichurri. Now most people are familiar with chimichurri. Most people have been to Brazilian steakhouse where you hear things like chimichurri thrown around. This is a really great sauce on everything. Now I use this not only on the cuts of meat we're going to use it on tonight. I love it on chicken stuff. I love it on anything imaginable. Grilled lamb chops. It's good on tofu if you don't do meat and you're vegetarian. Tofu, roasted potatoes, blitz it in a blender, make it into a salad dressing. I mean, it's good on everything. It's got so many of the great flavors. Again, a little spicier. We're gonna use a lot of herbs, very herb forward. It's got a little serrano pepper in there, so a little heat, trying to kick it up. Make sure we maintain the heat level right. And lastly, on the agenda, before I unveil our secret recipe, we're doing a little red wine pan sauce. So, what I'm about to do tonight, and Justin's going to be a witness, has never been rehearsed. We didn't rehearse this. So, I'm about to cook about 7 pieces of meat, all at the same time, across 2 different planes. Could be a flaming hot disaster. Everything could catch on fire. Either way, you're going to have a good time watching it all live. So, but I do want to say, never been rehearsed, right, Justin? We did not rehearse cooking any meats.
We had our first question though. I wanted to go.
Oh yeah. Let's hit me.
It said, Chef Scott, I'm wondering why my son's face is not shown right now.
I don't.
Thank you, Mother.
Oh, I'm like, wait, can you not see me? Can you not see me?
Yeah, continue.
All right, it's your mother. She's good support. I love that. Hello, Mrs. Hahn. Welcome to the show. So far, so good. What we're going to do is I'm going to make a pan sauce. That's why I have the cast iron skillet out, because every cut of meat that I'm going to do today is excellent on the grill. Obviously, it's about grilling, but we want to make sure we show you, hey, you know what? I love to cook meat in the cast iron skillet. Justin, you ever do cast iron cooking? Any of your good steaks?
I sure do.
It's great. I mean, what I love about it is, much like the grill, they're cast iron. They hold the heat really, really well. You don't have to blast them with the heat. They'll just stay nice and even. And we're going to make a little red wine pan sauce out of one of our steaks, and we're going to get into our meat in just a second here, because I know you guys are waiting to see all these fantastic cuts we've got for you. Make a little red wine pan sauce. So once we cook a steak in a pan with its natural juices, its natural fat, the salt and pepper, some of those juices are going to get sucked out into the pan. They get kind of browned on the bottom of the pan. There's all that stuff which the French call fond, F-O-N-D, not fonds. It'd be much cooler if it was called fonds, but it's called fond on the bottom of the pan. And so we basically make a pan sauce, and we take all the fond and we just kind of reinvigorate it. We add a little liquid, we kind of wake it all up, and that adds to this amazing flavor that we're going to add to the steak. Now, the red wine pan sauce I'm going to make, Justin, because I know you're curious, is not just good for red meat. It's not just good for like our steaks, or your ribeyes, or prime one, whatever. It's also good on pork. You can also flip this entire script on the red wine pan sauce and use white wine, and you can use chicken stock instead of beef stock, and you can use it over your chicken items or your turkey items, which is just as good. So it's completely 1 for 1. Just flip them like that if you want to make a white wine pan sauce. Keep the butter. You're going to need the butter. And last but not least, last recipe we're going to post here is the pan roasted mushrooms with sherry and herbs. Really, really good. I just felt like it was one of those things where it has a lot of meat. There's some pork. There's some good steaks we're going to sear up here. I was like, it just needed, Justin, it just needed a little, I'm sure your mother would agree, right, Mrs. Hand, when we say mushrooms is a nice touch to put on there. We'll give a little something afterward. We'll save a steak for you. How about that? There we go. We'll save one for you. All right, let's get started. So, Justin, you are going to walk us through, because I know people are curious. So what I'm about to show you may seem like an intimidating board of meat. Can you see it, Rob? Am I centered?
No, that's
Am I
actually
good?
breakfast for me.
That's breakfast. This is the normal Han household wake up and go breakfast. I would feel like if I had like even a piece or half or 2 of these, I'd be like, I'm not going anywhere. I've got to sit down. I got to sit this one out. you go on without me, kind of one of those scenarios. So we have a lot of great cuts here. And I know, like, obviously, I wish we had enough time to where I could have Justin take us through every single piece of meat we sell in the meat market, but we'd probably all be here for about a year because we sell a lot of great stuff. So we're going to do some great highlights and show you some things. And we're also going to kind of, the reason why I really am excited that Justin's here is because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about meat that you may not realize. If you're so used to cooking, you know, you love ribeye and you're doing the ribeye. Well, do you have to buy prime? We love prime at H-E-B. We have a lot of great prime, and our prime is fantastic. But did you know, like Justin, you can demystify, just because I have let's say we have a select or a choice and a prime, does the select mean that it's not as good as the prime, or is it just a different like eating experience? Like, can you explain like kind of the grading system and just kind of maybe demystify some of the stuff for some of our customers that may not know?
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it, Scott. Yeah, so all meat is inspected by USDA for wholesomeness and quality. So the grade is actually going to explain more about tenderness.
Okay.
So you have prime, which is going to be the highest end. So you'll see that marbling or the fat flakes that are in the middle. So basically
great.
At the facilities, they will split the ribeye in between the 12th and 13th rib, and then they'll take a picture of that, and depending on that percentage, the product is graded. So you have prime, choice, select, and then no roll.
Love that. Okay, so this is our prime. This is a bone-in ribeye. How thick would you say that is?
I'd say it's inch and a half to inch and 3/4.
Say it's over an inch. That's a pretty nice thick cut of meat. We also have our, this is our boneless ribeye. Obviously, everybody speaks ribeye in Texas. We all know that. If you're watching this outside of Texas, there's a lot of great cuts of meat. Not pictured here, but obviously we have our New York strip, which is another great one. These are great, and I think with all the meat that we have, I think prime is, just like you said, it's not necessarily like select is bad. It's a little bit leaner. It's a different tenderness. It's a different eating experience.
For sure. And a good example of that is, and we've shared this before, is tenderloins. My wife prefers the choice because it eats more lean versus the prime, which is a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, and especially if you're looking to tenderloin. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you would want like something a little bit. People are probably leaning towards something leaner anyway, right? So it's kind of like you want to go leaner. All right. So obviously you can see we've got some difference here. We've got some pork on here. Before we do that, you can see there's this very well marbled piece of New York strip that I have in front of me here. This is a really, really nice cut. So this is our Wagyu. Now, if you're not familiar, H-E-B Wagyu, most H-E-Bs do carry our Wagyu beef, which is a great cut. We cut a couple different cuts, which Justin can go into. But will you just talk a little bit about, I think there's a lot of people that misconception, people just may not know what really is Wagyu and like how does it compare to choice, select, and all that stuff. So if you can demystify, you can see like the marbling on this, obviously, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, Scott explained, you can see the marbling. It's what I would say, it's pretty intense. It runs fully through it. It is an excellent cut, best served at medium rare. The muscles will tighten up if you overcook it. So if you're a medium rare type of customer, then it's perfect. But when it comes to the background of Wagyu, it utilizes Japanese Kobe beef genetics, but it's raised here in America. Okay. And then it's also fed a Japanese style diet on a longer duration.
Okay. So good. So do you think our how does it fall in line of like, would you say it's kind of equal to prime? Or obviously it's a little more marbled, but it's like, as far as eating experience goes?
It's more elevated. It has a better eating experience, especially if you keep it at that medium rare.
But again, just like Justin said, if you are a person that likes a well-done steak, just steer clear of the Wagyu. That's not your cut of meat. This is definitely, the marbling inside suggests definitely a much more gentle cooking, like a medium rare. So if you're a medium rare person, you haven't tried it, I definitely guarantee if they carry it locally, H-E-B, pick it up. We also have some there's so many things to talk about. We have our these grass-feds that are great. What I love about these are, Justin, and this is they're pre-packed and they're great for like single families or just like grab and go, like, hey, I just want one steak, I want to do. These are great because you can get I just threw that up. Sorry, ribeye, I didn't mean to throw you like that. It just kind of happened. The New York strip, we sell the tenderloins, we sell the strip steak. I mean, these are great for, just a quick, like, hey, grab and go. The pork, we get into the pork.
Oh, sorry. Before you move on, just want to touch on the H-E-B prime too. So basically, H-E-B ages the prime for 14 days. Okay. So it gives that extra tenderness.
Before it gets to store.
Yep.
So it's wet aged before. So it comes to you ready to go. I encourage everybody to use prime because we do such a great job. We have such a great selection of prime. It's a great cut of meat. Obviously, just like we said, the eating experience is delicious and one of a kind. So we have some great cuts of pork. So we have a natural program, our H-E-B Natural Pork. Will you just talk to our viewers about like kind of what does that mean when we say the natural pork? Like just kind of an overview as to what what we're talking about?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. So the program basically states that there's no antibiotics ever, no added hormones ever, and then it's fed a vegetarian diet. Very strict, yeah.
Love it. And that's across all of our, we just say natural, that's pretty
Natural
much the
programs, yes.
Love it. This is a pork, let me get this other guy. This is a pork tomahawk. Why do we call it a pork tomahawk? I don't know, because it looks like a tomahawk. This thing's awesome. I was really excited when I first saw these. We've been carrying these for a while though, right?
Yeah,
we've had these for a while.
In the stores for a while.
If you have not utilized this, I feel like this is the quintessential like summer grilling. I mean, we sell those giant, I forget what they're called, just the big, what do we call those? A dino, not the dino ribs, the bone, where it's like the ribeye with the long bone.
Oh, it's
the cowboy
beef tomahawk, but yeah.
Okay, beef tomahawk. There you go. The big beef tomahawks. Those are great. These pork ones are really nice. It's a little, they're nice and lean, but they've still got a really good amount of fat, and they're amazing on the grill. They're fantastic. I love all these. Okay, so like I said, we're going to start seasoning the meat. There's so many great questions. Again, Justin will be in the chat. If there's anything that you feel like, hey, I want to ask, or anything you want to do, just ask him. He's here to help. We're going to season our meat. Now, like you just said, Justin was guessing it's probably like 1.25 inches on some of our stuff. I brought out the big salt. The little salt that I normally use, this is not gonna work for this application. So I'm gonna set that guy over here. It'll be used again, I promise. We have some thick cuts of meat. So normally, yes, do I like salt? Yes, I do. More than the average bear, probably. I like a little salt. But I want you to know when you're seasoning cuts of meat, especially ones, I mean, look at how thick this guy is. When you're seasoning a thick cut of meat, don't just kind of give it like a, let's grill, like that's not really ready to go. You need to season them liberally. I will say this liberally because there's a lot of surface area. It's a thick cut of meat. So if I just do a little like, oh, we're ready, Justin, let's go, like just a very thin, as soon as I pick this up, some of the salt flies off. So you want to really season these liberally. So I'm going to really give it some salt and just pack it down. You have to do anything crazy. Just going to give it a little pack so it stays on there. And the same thing with everything. A nice seasoning. I know, Justin, you're not afraid of salt, right?
Not at all.
Not at all. I get my quart a day. I follow the doctor's recommendations. That may or may not be accurate or not. You could speak to your doctor for individual recommendations of salt. All right, so a little salt on each side here, a little pepper. Now, I'm not kidding when I said we've never tried this before. This is not rehearsed before. When I'm going to throw all this meat on the grill at the same time. Well, not all on the grill. I've got some pan sauces. So I've got 2 of our bone-in ribeyes.
Hey, Chef Scott, we got a question that just came in.
Yes.
Yep. So Courtney is asking, does it make a difference how long the seasoning is on the meat before you grill?
So yes. So obviously, Courtney, great question. Salt is the great extractor, right? So the longer we leave it on, the more it's going to pull moisture out. However, it's kind of twofold because you can do what's called a dry brine. Things like a turkey or a thicker piece of meat like a chicken, and you could dry brine it, and you could let the salt sit on it, and eventually it will draw out moisture, and then eventually that moisture will get reabsorbed. However, in these kind of cuts of steaks that are a little bit thinner, obviously this is not chicken, this is beef, I let the seasoning sit on there as long as it takes my grill to kind of heat up. So I let them sit at kind of, I would say, room temperature for 15, 20 minutes just to kind of let them kind of come to room temp, because one of the biggest mistakes I think people make is you've got this beautiful cut of meat, say you bought the Wagyu or a prime ribeye, and you're like, I'm so excited to cook this. You got your grill screaming hot at 375, and all of a sudden you go, all right, out of the fridge, 39 to 41 degrees is what your fridge temperature typically is at most houses. You take it out, you season it, you go right on the grill. Well, the internal temp of that meat is so cold, by the time it's cooked to the way you want it, the outside is going to be so just charred and black and just like, just completely destroyed that it's not going to be good anymore. So I say let your meat sit at kind of room temperature for 15 to 20 minutes while your grill's preheating. Let it kind of rest. I always equate it to like if you were to jump in a pool that's really cold, versus like dipping a toe in like one at a time, like kind of like letting yourself kind of slowly warm up. You don't want to seize up and be like, oh, that's so cold. Like, same thing with your meat. You want to make sure your meat has a chance to kind of just come a little bit to room temperature. We're not talking like, don't let it sit out for hours at a time. Then you gotta, that's a whole other kind of.
Yeah, Scott, do you mind if I add something real quick?
Yes, please.
So I know on our cooking instructions, we do base those on coming out of the fridge directly. And the reason we do that is because most people don't know the tip that you just said. So
correct.
Just as a heads up when you look at those cooking instructions.
That's right. Little food safety. We want you to be food safe. Obviously, I like to cook the stuff as soon as I get it. It's just a lot of meat. It's just who shall we invite to our party? This is intense. This is a lot of meat. I'm telling you, folks, this was not rehearsed. We're going on the grill and we're going to see what happens. And what happens, happens. And Rob will be here to capture every moment of it. Rob, our camera guy.
Hey, quick question again, Scott.
Yes.
So, Ashley, what does Chef Scott think about reverse searing?
Reverse searing. You know what? I feel like it works, and I think there's something to reverse searing, but honestly, I feel like it's just too much of a headache. There's so much I would say sous vide before reverse sear, whereas sous vide, if you've got a sous vide machine, you sous vide it to a certain temp, and then you finish it on the grill, so that way it's a perfect, you get that perfect temp throughout. But I feel like it's kind of in the same realm. I don't mind it. I don't hate it at all. I just feel like it requires a little more work than just kind of seasoning it, throwing it on the grill, and just kind of getting it right. All right, my hands are coated in some great fat and salt. All right, here we go. I wasn't kidding you. Moving the camera. All right, so what I want you to make sure you have is a resting rack. Now, if you have not gone out and picked up your kitchen and table resting rack, it's fantastic. We showed you can also it's great for guacamole. You know how to throw an avocado through that bad boy now. So I've got a couple cooking surfaces. So here's how it's going to work. All right, we're going to spray our grill. I cleaned your grill. This is very, very important. I like to spray the meat instead of the grill if you're worried about flare-ups. That way you're just going to get a little bit of the oil on there to keep it from sticking. But before you start grilling, if you've had your grill put away for the entire winter, you didn't grill, no big deal. Just make sure before you actually grill, spend a little time kind of, bringing it back up to speed, Get it in shape before you, take it for a full marathon. All right, these are going to go on. Now, the temperature that I'm at right now is around 350 to 375, probably call it more medium. So depending on the cut of your meat and depending on when you grill out, I'm not going to put any on the ribeyes. So I'm going to do one of my regular ribeyes, the boneless ribeye, and I'm going to do a bone-in ribeye. Holy cow, Rob, you getting all this? And I'm going to do in the pan a bone-in and a boneless. I'll save the Wagyu and the pork chops. Actually, I got room for a pork chop right up top. Here we go, up top. Now we got the whole thing grilled. All right, I'm going to set those guys aside. I'm going to wash my hands. Please enjoy this music. Justin, go.
Yeah. Well, I was going to
we had that queued up in rehearsal. He was going to sing a whole McDonald or something like that. We're going to try and keep you guys entertained while I was washing my hands. All right, so those are going to go. I'm going to leave those alone. So we were talking about temperature and heat and how hot you want to go. My cast iron skillets are at a really nice low heat. I've got it on low because I know that cast iron is a great conductor and it's going to stay nice and hot. Obviously, you heard when I put the steaks on that they seared. Now, how do you know when your grill's ready to go? What's a great way to do it is, I knew mine was preheated for over an hour, so I know mine was ready. It was nice and hot. But there's a couple different ways you can do it. I think the old school way would be if you're very heat tolerant and like pain, you can hold your hand over the grill for 4 seconds, 5 seconds to get kind of a measure of what it is. What's a little safer nowadays would be to just take the meat and just kind of touch it to the grill. So if I was going to take my pork here, I could go, is my grill ready to go? And I could just kind of touch it. If you hear it starting to sear and kind of stick, then it's ready to go. Then it's nice and hot. That way you don't have to sit there and worry about, burning your hands and, You should have a drink in one hand, right? You can do all that. Everything I just did, I can do with one pair of tongs, which means you can have a glass of wine in your right hand. Is Mrs. Han, is she drinking it? Is she enjoying a glass of wine or a cocktail? Hopefully. It's a cooking class for crying out loud, right? All right, so these are going. I've got them on nice low heat. I'm not going to worry about them. I'll let them go. Justin has an eagle eye. He's going to watch those as I go. All right. Everything good so far? Making sense? All right, here we go. All right, so let's do our sauces. So the great thing about both of my sauces here, I got to get into our other meats before I do that. Great thing about both of our sauces, and I'll take a little quick interlude to talk about the other meats I have over there, is that both can be made ahead of time. So I recommend actually you make them at least a day ahead, because that way all those great herbs and spices will kind of sit and collect, and that way they'll just kind of marry. Because we're using fresh herbs, if you go too long beforehand, they can get a little muddy and they can turn a little dark and they kind of weep. Still great flavor, but I think most people be like, oh, there's something dark in here. I don't know what it is. Is it pepper or is it just an herb that's kind of gone bad? But both sauces will keep about a week. So let's do this first. I know we talked a lot about prime. We talked a lot about all the great stuff out of our meat case. All the different cuts you can do, the Wagyu, the grass-fed. I want to show you another couple of cuts. So being that I lived in California for quite a while, tri-tip is one of my favorite cuts of meat to use. I use it a lot. It's where is the tri-tip cut on your, Justin will explain in a second. I think he's answering a question. what I love about the tri-tip is it's very, very lean, but it's also like you can grill it, you can smoke it, you can like finish it in the oven, you can sear it, you can slow cook. Like it's a really a nice piece of meat. I typically with my tri-tip will throw it on the grill, get some nice grill marks on it after you season it really well, and then finish it either over indirect heat on the side or throw it in the oven and kind of finish it out. Justin, where does the tri-tip, explain where the tri-tip comes from?
Perfect.
Like
it's pretty easy. It's just actually below the sirloin, right below it. So it's a muscle that isn't used as much, so it has some good tenderness to it.
Right, so it's got some good tenderness. So we also have the picanha cut, which most people know the picanha or the culotte. Picanha is very popular in obviously your Brazilian steakhouses. So most people know it from that, the picanha cut. What I love about both these cuts is that they can be, just like your fajita meat, if you cut it with the grain, you can obviously have some very tough meat. But if you cut it against the grain, and for the most part, you can kind of see in here, the picanha pretty much runs the same direction. Sometimes, depending on where the tri-tip is and which cut you kind of have, sometimes the muscle tissue will kind of run different. So you may start cutting it on a certain way and then may have to kind of swivel it to cut it against the grain again. So just kind of be aware of that. But both are great cuts of meat. And if you have a buddy like Justin Han, who would tell you that picanha is great to do over like to sear and then over indirect heat or cook over low, sear and then cook over low heat, throw in the oven. He loves to do his on skewers, and he made some for me, so he may make some for you. These skewers, this is the picanha cut into about a 1-inch cube, and that way you can cook this faster and higher on your grill, and it has the same tenderness, right? And look at this. You left one for me, and I failed you. I didn't put it together. It looks so good. I was like, these look so great. I feel like, so anyway, you can call Justin. We'll have his number up here and he'll come make you your same skewer. So it's a great thing. So these are just two cuts that we love, that I love because they're becoming more popular. And it just kind of, if you're so used to grilling some things a certain way, it's a way to kind of like, hey, change up the routine a little bit, throw something new in there. Why not? All right, let's make the chermoula. So chermoula. All right, let me check on the meat first. You watching my meat? We're watching. Look at that. All right, you ready for this? So I want you to see. You can see on the grill cam. You kind of see how I laid everything. Hello. Can you see? All right, here we go. So I kind of laid everything at like a 45-degree angle. And that's because I want to get those beautiful hash marks. So as you can see, I'm going to flip this up. You see I've got some nice marks there. Now, as with every grill, you are going to have hot spots, right? So there'll be hot spots where I think on this grill it's a little hotter on this side. Even though it's all the same temp, you're going to have that. So don't worry about it. Just know that some things may brown differently. So I'm going to flip this guy 45 degrees. Again, we're trying to make those hash marks. I'm just going to flip these guys. So he's not quite there. I'm going to let him go a little bit longer. I think we're looking good. These, you still need some time. So I want you to also notice, because we're at a lower heat, you're not seeing a ton of flare-ups. I can see one kind of in the corner over here. That's why you always want to make sure you've got a little squirt bottle. Squirt out the flames. But that way, obviously, when using a prime cut of meat on the grill, if you go really, really high with your heat, there's a real big tendency to cause a flare-up, and those are never good, because as soon as you start getting flare-ups, all that fat's going to burn, which is going to make all that black, acrid smoke, which is going to then stick to the meat, which is like, you never want that. So I go with the more medium heat for those kind of cuts. For me, that's my preference. All right, chermoula. So I did tell you that chermoula had a lot of flavors that were very South Texas in nature. We're going to test my chopping skills. So obviously, cilantro and parsley. Everybody knows cilantro and parsley. Everybody's very familiar with cilantro and parsley. Lemon. So far, there's nothing weird that I've put in here yet. Smoked paprika, we know that very well. A little red pepper flakes, of course, over your pizza or whatever. Some garlic cloves, a little cumin, and a little coriander. Now, the one trick that's not in the recipe, but because you're here, I'm going to share with you. Toast your spices for this one, because we sell toasted coriander, and I believe we sell toasted cumin both at H-E-B in your spice rack. You can go get them. Most of the time, we sell in most stores. I won't say all, but we sell in most stores. Toast the spices first, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. Dry pan, one of our kitchen table. Is this a kitchen table pan? Why, yes, it is. Thank you so much for noticing. I'm going to put it over very low heat. We're not trying to burn the spices. I just want to add a little extra depth of flavor to both of these. So once I add this to the pot, it's going to taste incredible. So we're going to chop, and I'm going to show you. Hopefully, you've been practicing your chopping skills. I know you have. Justin, how's it all going?
Going good. Before you start doing that, I just have to tell everyone it smells amazing. I know they can see it.
It's starting to get there. So I'm going to wait for the steak here. I'm going to cheat a little bit and see. No, we're still good. I'm going to let that go for a little bit. We're going to let that go. I got a big rack to rest everything. All right, I'm going to do the 2-knife thing because it's a cooking class and I want to impress you. So of course we're going to use 2 knives. I'm going to put myself in danger because I believe in entertainment value as well as educational value. How about that? All right, so I've got, now I'm going to eyeball this. It's a cup of cilantro and our parsley. So I'm going to roughly chop what looks to be about a cup, which is pretty much almost an entire stalk. Now, compost these or save the stems for stocks or salsas because they both make really good flavor in the stems. All right, my herbs. I do need some mint in this. I've got some mint also. Now, if you're not familiar with mint, I want to tell you it's not just for your vanilla ice cream. When you go to get vanilla ice cream, they put a little sprig of mint in there. There's nothing wrong with that, Justin. It's got so much more to it. There's so much more potential. All right, so I don't mind on herbs. Here's my thing with herbs too. There's certain herbs that have tender stems. I'm totally fine including tender stems in there with it. It's totally fine. Dill has tender stems. I think some of the mint is tender. When it starts to get a little rougher, I leave it alone and just pick them off. Rosemary, obviously you want to always take the stems off because they're really thick. Actually, you can use the stems of rosemary for like skewers for shrimp or whatever. Or kebabs like Justin just did for me. All right.
Hey, Scott, how can you tell if it's tender or not on the stem?
So that's a great question. I'll show you. So in oregano, which we use in our chimichurri, oregano has oregano and sage have, like I would say, more woodsy, but there's certain parts of the top of the herb where I would say, so I'm going to get this out. So if you can see the mint, I don't know, Rob, we can do the top camera if you want. This kind of stuff here, this little stem that I can kind of bend and is a little bit more pliable, this I would just chop up and throw in there. When it starts to get down to this one, it's a little bit thicker and starts to snap, I would definitely just take these leaves off, put it with this guy and roll them up and just chop them.
Oh, excellent.
So that's kind of how I would do that. And then I'll take my 2 knives here because I am about entertainment value as well. A little bit of that. All right, I'm going to clear this off. And now, for your viewing pleasure, if you want to do this, this is my one thing for you. Safety is grabbing the knife 2 fingers by the bolster, wrapping your hand around it so you have more power. The further back on the knife you are, the more chance you have your wrist to roll. So, add the bolster. I've wrapped my finger around it. Now I'm just going to add the extra knife. This index finger, stop pointing. All right, index finger goes in between the second knife like so. I am not letting my finger go. If you've got really big, long fingers, be careful of this technique, just an FYI. I've got it to where I can tuck it kind of up, so there's no more, you can see there's no skin showing underneath, and you're good to go. That way, this makes it just that much faster. Come on. Who doesn't want to impress, like, your mother-in-law, father-in-law, parents, sisters, parents, which would be your parents, your new bride or new groom or new whatever, just trying to impress them with some techniques. You're like, can I borrow 2 knives, please?
Yeah, maybe house pet, something like that.
Seriously, I'm telling you. That may be the acceptance you were looking for. If they were like, are you sure this guy knows what he's doing? You pull out 2 knives, they're like, he's in, or he's good. He's got this. Instill confidence in your diners at every chance, right? Another way to instill confidence in your diners is to always have a lot of alcohol flowing. That's always another way to do it. I know at the Han household they do that, right? You got to have when you're having a backyard barbecue, grilling meat like this. Are you kidding? Right?
Oh yeah, occasionally.
All right, you ready for this? Are you ready? Seared crust. That's why I love the cast iron. We'll let that one go. Low heat. Nothing has changed. Cumin and coriander into my pot. You see there's enough heat? See a little smoke? There's enough heat in my pan to where, you see all that beautiful smoke? It's a quick toast. Holy cow, if you could smell this. Woo, see how dark it just got? That's all I need to do. Right on top of my herbs. Just like that. This is done. This is all going to get scraped into a bowl. So why did I put the hot cumin and coriander on top of my herbs? Because I'm just going to give them a gentle little bit of softening through that heat. All right, what's in the bowl? We got the cumin, coriander. I got smoked paprika. I got the garlic. The trick with the zest. Have I showed you this, Justin? Have you seen this? Have I showed you this super sweet thing? Let me get a different pair of tongs here for my pork. All right, let's check out our pork here. All right, we're going to throw this guy this way.
That looks great.
Throw this guy this way. Got a couple of hot spots on our grill here. That being one of them. Throw that guy like this. All right, moving these guys over. So we're going. I told you this had never before been attempted. We did not rehearse this. I'm going to move those guys. Let's do this. There's our bone in. That's looking pretty good. Again, because we're managing the heat right, there's not a ton of flare-ups, right? We're not seeing a bunch of that. Zest the garlic. You could sit here and mince this all day long if you wanted to, which you totally can. I prefer to do this because in this sauce, now, if you're looking at this recipe and you go, Scott, you say put it all in a blender, you can. However, this being one of my favorite words, being rustic, also known as lazy. Doesn't always have to be. Rustic is also beautiful, whereas maybe lazy is not always, so rustic is a better word to use. This is, I wanted to show you the full herbs and how they all mix together. Plus, I don't want to have to fire up a power tool and have it be, you know, while I'm like talking, you can't hear me, so I figured we'll just do it the old school way. All right, that is all in. The only thing that's missing from this recipe is obviously our lemon juice. I've got a little lemon here. This is like King Kong of lemons. I don't know where I got these lemons, but they're all like gigantic. You know what I'm going to do? Because I'm a smart shopper at HEB, allow me to show you, because I need an orange press to get those lemons down. I went ahead and was smart and just bought straight up lemon juice. 3 tablespoons of our freshly squeezed lemon juice. See, always, there's always a shortcut, always. 3 tablespoons lemon juice, just enough acid. Now, the salt and pepper in this, super, super important. Why? Because there's a lot of water in our herbs, right? So there's water in the herbs. I'm going to hit it with salt and hit it with some pepper. My generous level of salt. Justin's level of salt. Olive oil, about 3/4 cup to a cup, depending on how much you have. I may have overdone it on the herbs a little bit, but I'm fine with that. So I'll just add a little more olive oil.
So Chef Scott, if you make extra, how long can you keep that?
I keep this sauce for about 5 days. I'm going to be honest, and I'm not going to give you the food safe answer. I've kept it for longer, but 5 days is about the time you should be good. And this is just going to go. So again, you can see how it's nice and thick, right? I want to show you my done one because I want to show you what salt is going to do. Salt's going to leach out a lot of these flavors from the herbs and kind of make this beautiful sauce. Now I see my grill. It's going. I see the flare-ups over there. We've got some smoke going. We're good. I don't see like nothing's on fire yet. There's no reason to panic yet. No reason around the building screaming. All right, that's the chermoula. That's the one that's done. Those pork tomahawks are looking magnificent. This is the chermoula. Remember I promised you? So check that out. So look how dark that is. I don't know if you can see, Rob, you can see that. There's a lot of contrasting colors here. The color in this is so nice and dark because we had the smoked paprika, remember? That smoked paprika. But look at how much liquid leached out of that. So you've just got this really nice kind of fine sauce. Now, this sauce, I recommend you do on anything. Throw it in the blender like the recipe calls for. Use it as a salad dressing. I love it like this over grilled potatoes. If you're a vegetarian, this is fantastic on, both sauces are fantastic on grilled tofu. They're great on potatoes. Grilled potatoes, one of my favorite things in the world to do. All right, we're going to look at this pork here. Those are looking really good, Justin. I'm not going to lie. These aren't looking too bad. Steak here. We're going to flip these bad boys over. So because I'm cooking my steak almost like 90% on one side, it'll take less time for me to finish cooking it. Now, we're going to throw some time and temps up on the thing so you can actually see the different time and temps for cooking the right temperature to what you're looking for. But I just kind of, the foolproof way to do it is, I could show you how to do, like you feel it on your finger. Problem is everything's different. If you went Wagyu or Prime, it's going to feel different than Select. It's going to feel different than Choice. From the thickness of both, you may catch a meat pocket. If you're feeling something thinking that it's done, it may not be. I always say a probe thermometer is a great way to go. We sell a lot of great probe thermometers at HEB. Just pick one up, and for the safety of it all, just being able to know, hey, without a doubt, got this. And then eventually, the way I taught myself is use a probe thermometer, and then feel your hand and see if that matches up, and then you kind of start to get a feeling. But again, it's different for every cut of meat, so you can't. It's not one size always fits all with the touching. All right, how are we doing? We good?
Yeah, it looks great, man.
So far, I told you this had never been done before, and it's all working. It's a little smoky back here, but I think we're working through it. We'll just say it's our fog machine. Just trying to stamp on the button and hit our fog machine. All right, so the chermoula is going to be over here. I'm going to let that sit at room temperature. Again, I got some nice hot meats. Those are going to rest. The chimichurri. So the chimichurri, again, Argentinian style sauce. These are, all right, our steaks are done. We'll take your steak out. So, Rob, I don't know if you can see this. You see in the bottom of our pan all that beautiful fond? That's what we want to use to deglaze our pan. I'm getting my chimichurri. Having those moments, do you ever do that when you walk into a doorway and everything you had in your mind just goes, that's what happens. That happens a lot to me. All right, here we go. Those are resting. Our pans, I'm going to turn off. They're still blazing hot, so when I make my sauce in a second, it'll be great. So in this is not pink lemonade. This is my lemon juice with my red wine vinegar. I don't know how that tastes. You made a chimichurri with a lemonade. You could try pink lemonade. All right, so the herbs. I did the fancy 2-knife chop on all my herbs again. We don't need to see that again. All the herbs. So in our chimichurri, we have the parsley, the cilantro, but we're adding the mint again. We're adding the oregano, and then we're adding a little serrano pepper. So my serrano pepper, now if you don't like spice, just omit this. But I like a little spiciness. I think it works really, really well with this. Our minced shallots. Man, whoever did shallots did a really good job mincing those shallots. I had a long time to mince them, though. Let's just say that. All right. I want everything to be nice and uniform in this because, again, as I'm pouring this over a steak, you want to make sure that everything is kind of even, right? Everything all fits there. You don't want like a big chunk of jalapeno or a big chunk of serrano and then like a small chunk of one of the herbs, or a big chunk of garlic and then, Again, while we're zesting the garlic, makes it easier, it just blends right in. I'm using 5 cloves of garlic. If you're not a big garlic fan, maybe do 3. Or maybe omit it. I feel like it's good with just the shallots, but that garlic, this is a very small clove of garlic. I'm already going to apologize to him. He's not going to go very far. All right, there we go. All right. And again, lemon juice, red wine vinegar. I feel like the red wine vinegar is an absolute must to have in your chimichurri because that acid that we want with our steak, because we got some really nice juicy, and by juicy I mean like some really nice well-marbled pieces of steak here. All right, these guys, I'm going to rest. Those are done. The pork here, that's looking like it's pretty good. These guys are way done. Put those guys over here out of the way. All right, everything is resting. That guy could use a couple more minutes. Again, you got to be careful when it can be really, really confusing. Like, look at that. That's not done, right? That's been in a really cold spot on the grill. So I'll let that move that guy down here. This guy's all good. I'll let him rest. So when it comes to cooking meat that has a bone in it, you do have to be kind of cognizant of the fact that that bone is going to stay colder longer. So obviously if we're letting our meat rest 15, 20 minutes, it may take a little longer to get that all kind of, resting. So typically if you start to cook your meat and you check the internal temperature and it's not quite what it is, usually the bone is where it's the coldest, where it'll cook the last. So sometimes you can always flip it up on the side or just kind of pull the meat off if the rest of it's done the way you like it. Slide it off the grill like we're with the direct heat, Justin, and just kind of leave it on the side. Yep. Maybe a good way to do it. All right, everything's in there, right? I'm going to hit it with my salt again. Going to draw out all that moisture. Pepper, we got to have pepper. Salt and pepper go together. All right, and then the olive oil, good amount of olive oil. About a cup here. Again, you could throw this in a food processor. The reason why I like to use a food processor for chimichurri is I want all the herbs uniform. So I want all the all that mint and oregano and all that good parsley and cilantro. You want it all kind of uniform so it all kind of hits the palate at the same time, which is usually when you throw it in a food processor, it makes it a little bit easier. All right, this, I need another spoon. I'm going to give it a toss. If you were to taste this right now, here's what I think you would say. That's really, really good. I love this. If you were to taste it in 2 hours from now, you'd be like, holy cow. You could even say a bad word or swear because you think it's so good. But that's just what time will do to this. This just needs to sit now. Again, this is kind of in Argentina, they also do the chimichurri rojo, which is used with red peppers and there's different like roasted bell peppers. They do a lot of different stuff versus the green herb. I love herbs with steak. I'm running out of room. Here we go. Chimichurri. This is what this looks like after it sets up, right? So again, that salt just pulls out everything and just makes this so pretty. Here we go. There it is. This is your expletive chimichurri. This is the one where you'd be, holy moly. Right, Justin?
Yes, sir.
That's the one. Justin, how's it all working so far? We good?
Yeah, it's going
Any other questions? You got it all? Everything good?
Yeah, when you get a chance, we can talk about maybe alternative cuts and your favorite cuts.
Yes. What's your favorite cut to use?
Probably it's going to be the culotte that we just talked about, the picanha, yeah.
Or the picanha.
Yeah, it eats similar to a tenderloin for me, and you can cook it as a whole roast steak or skewer it up.
Love it. Love it, love it. All right, red wine pan sauce. Turn our pan on here. I'm going to use this guy. Actually, what I just did is extremely stupid because I grabbed a really hot pan. This is okay. I have no feeling left in pretty much any part of my body except for my eyes, I think is the only thing I have left. No, not true. But my hands are okay, but this is extremely hot. Remember, they hold the heat really well. Okay, I have all my ingredients over there. There's one thing I needed, and I think it was a knife, which I have right here, hiding from me. Shallot. So on the recipe for the red wine pan sauce, I have it in front of me here. Now I have it in front of me. Unsalted butter to the pan. Obviously, I'm leaving this over nice low heat. It does not need to be really, really high, simply because we don't want to brown the butter. We want to add the sauce. I'm just going to julienne, thinly cut, an onion here, just to do this, a little bit of butter. I always recommend having a pound of butter sitting at room temperature in your kitchen. I do in mine. About 3 tablespoons of butter here. Oh, wrong pan. In you go. Now you can see in the pan from the top cam here, there still is fat in there, right? I'm going to add a little oil as well. So we have a little oil. I've got my butter, shallots. I kind of like the julienne shallots. Reason being, Justin, is I kind of like the texture of the, this kind of an onion that's a little bit more,
Yeah. Do you ever put your herbs in there with it?
Yes, which is what I'm about to do now.
Oh.
My herbs go in, which are in here. Thyme goes in. Oh, I was doing thyme fresh. I'm thinking of the mushrooms. I'll keep on track. One of these days I'll get it. I'm going to do like 3, this is what I call a sprig. So this is obviously a very big sprig. You could probably half this into a couple. But fry your herbs. Fry them. Fry them in there because this is going to impart a lot of good flavor. So the oils from that thyme, there goes one of my sprigs. He just jumped right out. He didn't want to be in the pan. He wanted to go somewhere else, and we'll let him do that tonight. All right, this, a little bit of sauteing. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit. So you can already see, I don't know if you can see, like as I'm scraping the bottom of the pan here, you see how easy most of this stuff comes off now? It's all that fond. This is also a great way to clean a cast iron skillet, which is really, really nice. The only thing that's going to go in there besides that is the red wine and our beef stock. Now, like I said, if you decide, hey, I'm going to do some pan-seared, those beautiful chicken breasts that we sell at H-E-B, and you want to flip this, same amount, chicken stock, same amount, red wine, white wine. That way you get a nice, beautiful, kind of lighter white wine pan sauce. The shallots are a must, herbs are a must, and we're going to finish with butter. Let's get a little wine first. I'm using a Lapis Luna out of, this is a Central Coast, California wine, is that right? Northern Coast, I was close. Zinfandel. And I'm going to do about a half a cup. Typically, it's not going to really catch on fire. You'll notice, typically, it's like I'm not using a super high heat, which is a little bit less dangerous. If you have electric in your home, you don't need to really worry about it. If you were going from a really high heat to add wine, you always want to add it off the heat so it doesn't scorch up because the splatter is what catches the alcohol. So you can see that's going. The wine's already reducing. The alcohol's burning out. Again, safe for the kids. Beef stock goes in. I'm going to turn this up to a pretty high consistency, and I'm going to show you what the French also call nappe, N-A-P-P-E. I may have spelled that wrong. Somebody's got to fact check that. But the word is called nappe, which means it's thick enough to coat the back of a spoon, which is all we want on our steaks here. All right, this guy he's good to go. Let me get that out of here. This guy is way good to go. Pork over here, and then I got this guy. I'll let him go a little bit longer. He's getting there. But that bone, so like right now, perfect example here as you see it on the grill cam. The meat up top is pretty much ready to go, but the meat at the bottom where the bone is not. So I'm going to kind of pull it off a little bit of the grill. So imagine this is my indirect heat. I'm going to kind of keep this over direct heat, keep it over indirect heat. That make sense?
Yes, sir.
All making sense? All right. What else? So at the Han household, what are we drinking for the barbecues? What are we having? What's the drink du jour? I'm bringing Lapis Luna. I already told you. I got the red wine. I got my red wine ready to go.
Yeah, we usually when we have people over, we have a stock bar for people, but go-to is just a
stock bar. So Justin, we're going to get your number. We're going to leave it out. I'm sure you and the missus wouldn't mind having you got a newborn. They'd love to have the company, right?
Oh yeah.
Entertaining. All right, the smell of this is really, really incredible. You can see, obviously, the heat is up. We're going to reduce this. As soon as it starts to get a little bit like thick, like a nappe, and I'm going to show you on the back of my spoon here what that actually looks like. As I dip it in, like you can see, so I don't know if you can see this, Rob, but it's a really faint line. We're not quite there yet. I'm going to add the butter at the last second because it's going to give us that shine, but it's not quite where if I drag my finger through it, the sauce kind of stays. That's what nappe is, where you can draw a nice little line on the back. And the sauce kind of stays. It's close. It's not quite there yet. So we're going to keep working that. Our meat is resting. We're getting close. How am I doing on time? Am I all right? Okay. All right. Final plating. Final plating and our mushrooms.
Yep. You have about 10 minutes.
Mushrooms. All right. This guy's nice and hot. We're going to go quick. 1, 2, wait. All right. Well, this is reducing mushrooms. So why the mushrooms? I don't know. It just felt right. It's the best thing I can tell you. Just felt like the right thing to do. I'm going to cut off some more of our butter here, right into a pan. A little bit of oil. That was my red wine. I was thinking red wine. I should be drinking red wine right now. That's why I went to the red wine. Forgive me as I move forward with the other stuff. All right, garlic. So I'm not going to mince my garlic. In this recipe, you can. I think the recipe that was linked, you had your garlic minced up. I'm just going to crush my garlic. I really like doing it this way. It reminds me of being in the Italian restaurant we used to work at. We was always crushing garlic, and they'd add it and then take it out. I'm just going to leave it in because it gives good flavor. This is going to go in the pan. Let that all get happy. Turn up the heat a little bit. My herbs, again, same thing. I've got rosemary. I've got thyme. It's all just going to go in absolutely whole. It's going to sit in there like that. And I'm not going to add any salt. Reason being is because I've got these beautiful big mushrooms, and they have a lot of liquid in them. Well, as soon as I salt them, they're going to start to kind of release all that liquid. I don't want to have a huge pool. So I tend to saute the mushrooms a little bit. And the very last second, once they've kind of slowly given off some of their liquid, it's easier to catch up. I'll add some salt at the end just to kind of get the remaining of the liquid out. But I feel like if you do it all right up front, it just kind of all of a sudden leaches out everything all at once, which is not what you want. I can't believe we did it, Justin. Pulled all that meat off in different places.
Yeah, you did it.
No, it's a team effort. Team effort.
Looks great.
All right, how's that looking? This one should be good to go. That guy's good to go. Leave him up there. Everything's going to rest. So now, so Justin, will you take through why it's good? Once you've cooked the steak, you've taken the time to cook the steak, why would you want, I'm going to turn the fan off for just a second, it's going to get loud. Why would you want to rest a steak after cooking?
No, good point. Yeah, it allows it to bring the temperature down, allows the muscle to contract a little bit, so it leaves that moisture and the flavor in there versus if you cut it directly off the grill, then it's going to release all the flavor.
Yeah. Gives it some time to, okay. Are you watching this? Rob, can you see this golden goodness? It's not really golden, but you get what I mean. So you can see how the sauce has kind of reduced. If you can see the bottom of my pan here, see how I can drag a line through it and it kind of comes back? That's kind of what we're looking for. It is reducing, it's getting thick. The sauce, I don't know if you can see the line there. Can you see a line? I can kind of see a line. See the slight line? That's when you're getting close to being nappe. So I'm going to turn the heat off. It's plenty hot. This is where you're going to add your other 3 tablespoons of butter. Why? The gloss, the sheen, and obviously the flavor. What? That was a hefty 3 tablespoons. If you're keeping track at home of how many 3 tablespoons was, and you're like, that looks bigger than my 3 tablespoons. It was. Admittedly, it was definitely bigger. Turn the heat on a little bit here. This is where you're going to grab your whisk, give a little turn. The butter's browning, mushrooms go in, herbs are nice and herbaceous. That goes in there. Holy moly, look at all this stuff. This is where we get in this is full-blown NASCAR time right now, Justin. So you see how thick this just got? I'm telling you, I love cooking with cast iron because it just holds heat so well. Look how thick and beautiful that just got. All right, we'll turn this off. It's really smoky in here. I'll leave it on. It's a little smoky. It's going to start to feel like we're at a concert. I mean, basically we are. All right, you see that? And it actually, because of the steak we cooked that we seasoned very, very generously, doesn't need a ton of salt. All right, let's do it one more time here. The nappe, drag the back of the spoon. So see our sauce, watch my finger. Doesn't run, right? Nappe, that's all it is. Off the heat, that guy's ready. 1, 2, 3 sauces. See how our pan got a little dry? Don't worry about that. A little more olive oil. This is where I'm going to hit it with the salt. And you're going to watch how much liquid's going to come out of this as we're watching. Da, 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 da. That's how it feels, right? It's like that last run at the last second. Rob, we need to do a super slow-mo thing as we're doing it. It's like I'll go real slow as we're finishing up. All right, let's start plating all of our good stuff here. Oh, I did promise you I was going to do Brussels sprouts. I said Brussels sprouts. I didn't promise you. I promised myself I would do Brussels sprouts on the grill because I want to have an extra vegetable in case, they're like, hey, we need another vegetable on here. I love whole roasted Brussels sprouts, whole grilled Brussels sprouts. Why? Because they are fantastic on the grill. Typically, most bigger Brussels sprouts won't fall through the grill, which is where, you know, you'll lose a lot of your other vegetables. Like everybody's tried asparagus, you know what I mean? Try to grill asparagus, you turn it that one direction, you lose like 50 of them immediately, and you're like, ah. Right on the grill here. All I'm looking to do, you're gonna hear a lot of popping, a lot of snapping. That is the cruciferous vegetable getting nice and hot. I will blister these to death. Like let them sit over there and burn. I promise you, you will be rewarded. Turn this pot down a little bit. Our mushrooms. All right. Brussels sprouts are gonna go. That is that. Red wine sauce is ready to go. So I'm gonna strain out a little bit of my red wine sauce. I'm not gonna use this plastic bowl because I'll get yelled at. I wanna use a nice little bowl, which I'll use this guy. It's a little bit big, but that's all right. All right, let me get a towel. Sauce right inside the bowl here. Look how glossy this is. Come on, come on. I like the shallots in there. Just keep all the herbs out. All that good stuff. Woo! You smell that?
That smells amazing.
Probably not with everything else going on right now. Probably a little hard to smell. All right. You can see how all the herbs, so look at these herbs. So these have done their due diligence. We can get rid of those guys. The thyme, all the thyme leaves have come off. Careful when reaching into a hot pan like I am. All the thyme sprigs are just that. They're just little sprigs, right? Everything comes off. A little more butter. Right at the end here. Low heat. And a final seasoning. And there are our delicious mushrooms. Of course, the sherry. Now, if you can't find sherry vinegar, use a little sherry wine. We sell sherry wine. There's enough heat in my pan. That sherry on the mushrooms. Oh yeah. And you see how the butter and that sherry kind of made a little sauce for these? Bada bing, here we go. I got pepper, I got salt. Did I salt these already?
Never enough.
All right. So you can see how now, if you look at this, look at all these beautiful, so like those mushrooms, all coated in all those great herbs. Come on. Delicious. Just pull the thyme sprigs out, ready to go. Okay. Red wine sauce, my spoon, the meats, plates. What are we doing on time? We're down to the wire here. I'm going to do a plate for the pork and a plate for the meat. 2 plates. Make sure our plates are clean. All right, mushrooms. Did I salt these already? Just making sure you're paying attention. Right in here.
Hey Scott, before we end too, I wanted to throw a plug out there too. As of today, our curbside will have the option to where you can pre-order your slice thickness for your cuts of meat. And it looks like we're going to start with the ribeye, the strip, and the tenderloin. So
I'm glad you brought that up because that was my other thing I wanted to ask you. Because I know our HEB butchers and our HEB meat market partners are so great at what they do, can you walk into your HEB market, or can you preferably call, and go, hey, I want to get a 6-inch cut, whatever. Will they do that? Will your meat market partner do that for you?
Yeah, they sure will. And it's prime only at this time. And so you can call ahead of time, go ahead and place that order so it's more efficient for the store partners and yourself. And then if you want to go ahead and just submit on curbside, that's another option also.
Love it. All right, I'm cutting these a little thicker. This is my bone in. Get that guy off there. Justin, how do we do?
Oh, yeah.
You're right on that one? Is that all right?
It's beautiful.
Let's see. Is that all right? All this stuff, all at once, mass hysteria. Got it done. All right. What sauce should we put on the prime ribeye? I got a bone in. I'm going to leave that bone because I know you like to have that bone in there for that extra flavor. What should we throw? Chimichurri?
Yeah, I'd like to see the chimichurri.
Chimichurri it is. Again, all that great fat on the ribeye. Come on, look at this. Get out of town.
Excellent.
All right, here we go. This is how I do my chimichurri. Right over the top. First of all that oil on top is gold. So give it a little oil and then a little bit of the fresh herb. I kind of like to go on a little bit of a line, you know, kind of a symmetrical, or not as symmetrical. That's all right. There we go. A little bit of that juice. And just to finish. Got to have a little bit. All right. Our pork. So nice and hot here. Beautiful.
Yep, and as you're cutting that up, Scott, I was going to talk about some alternative cuts too. Maybe
Yeah.
some that are a little bit more affordable, like a top sirloin. Outside skirt is a great option. It's a little bit more pricey than the inside skirt. Eats really well. Then you have the flat meat, which is my favorite for fajita meat. And lastly, a flat iron, and it comes from the chuck shoulder.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Oh wow. That's
so
beautiful.
you see, like it's a little more than 145, which is fine, but you see there's still a lot of moisture in that. It's not cooked to death. There's a little bit of moisture in that. All right, we're going to put these guys over here. Get that bone. Again, great bone to have. I'm going to put this guy just next to him here. Do one hole, one cut. A little bit of the chermoula on top, because you got to have the chermoula. And the last, but definitely not least, again, this spicy, like a little bit of that fresh herb over the pork. Last but not least, a last little ribeye, just for Justin here. Wait for it, wait for it. All right, last one. Here we go. We have a little bone-in ribeye. With a little red wine reduction sauce here. It's a few pieces. Fan that guy out. Obviously, if you don't like the medium, medium to medium rare, you can always go however much longer you need to go. A little red wine sauce here. Again, a lot of richness. So silky. And the Brussels sprouts in the bowl. Here they come. All right, hot hands, hot hands, hot hands. I love the Brussels sprouts. So again, look at all that beautiful char on these. Come on. So what's great about using whole Brussels sprouts is you're not trying to cook them to their mush. I think most people didn't like, if you ever ate Brussels sprouts as a kid and your mom ever put them in, hot boiling water, that was never a good thing. That just meant you're eating a mushy green, soggy kind of thing. The great thing about this is in using them whole on the grill, all those beautiful, nice charred pieces, so the inside's kind of steaming very gently. All right, let the rest of those guys kind of cook up here. And again, it's not like asparagus where it's all falling through the grill, right? Bada boom, bada bing. A little more fresh herb over the top of that guy there. Guys, that is it. Justin, we did it. We made it.
That's
just
excellent.
In time. Just barely in time, barely in time. Guys, I hope we've inspired you. I hope we have kind of demystified some of the great things you can do when you walk into your local H-E-B meat market. We hope that you ask your friendly neighborhood market partner for anything you need. They are a plethora of knowledge. They do such a great job. They do amazing work, and they have so much that they do, and there's so much that they're willing to help you do. So just go ahead and ask them, did I miss anything else? Anything else? The new program, the Boudin, just launched. The thing you just said about sounds like curbside with the cuts, that's what it was.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yep.
You can order your own cuts through curbside, really, really good. Guys, for these and other classes, go to our website, heb.com/classes. I think next week we have Chef Charlotte doing Beat the Heat with some great desserts for summertime, just in time for summer. And if you want to go back and rewatch some of the great episodes, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com, that was a really hard .com, youtube.com/HEB. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Justin, you're the man. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all you did. Appreciate all you guys do. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.